All right, a couple questions from the November 9th, 2014 service for 717, though I think this applies to both services. The question is, the first question is the DNS address. Okay, so the company is called, or the website is opendns.com, I think. But opendns.com not only will give you the DNS number that you can put on your wireless router, which will screen content, it also will give you step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So it's really helpful. So OpenDNS is the name of the, if you put that in a search engine, it will pull up. And what you're looking for is the DNS number and the instructions on how to change your router. Usually on changing your router, if you plug it directly to your laptop or computer, and there's an IP address you can type into the browser. And if you type that IP address into any browser that's plugged into a router directly, will pull up the controls of that router. And there you can go in there and change the DNS number. Here's my warning to you though, if it's an AT&T box coming to your house, and that's both your cable and your wireless router and your direct plug-in router, your hard plug-in router, you can't change that DNS number because your cable TV will stop working. So what you have to do in that case is hide that wireless network, add a wireless router to that network by plugging it hard plugged into the AT&T box, and then mess with that router that you buy commercially at like a Best Buy. You can get a wireless router probably for $70-$80 at Amazon.com or Best Buy or Walmart. I don't know, Walmart might even sell them, I don't know. But you need a wireless router. Now, some of them, like again, AT&T has both wireless and wired. If you get someone like a Charter or one of those, they come. Their hardwire box doesn't have wireless. You have to buy a router to go with it. So on that, you're going to have to buy a wireless router. Either way, you're going to have to get one. What I would do is lock the box itself, though, in a cabinet that only mom has a key to, and put the wireless router in there. A wooden box won't affect the signal anyway. And just put it in there and lock it in there. That way no one can hard plug into it and get around the DNS. I would hide the wireless router account on the hard plugged in AT&T if that's what you're using, or if you're using Charter, it doesn't have wireless anyway, it's just a box. And then I would make live the other router and have those both locked up so no one can hard plug into it, and use OpenDNS and put that in the DNS number. I'm going to do more write-up on that this next week on how to protect your family and step-by-step instructions on how to do some of that stuff. So I'll email that out to the church, and we may even do some YouTube videos on how to do that. But that's my recommendation, OpenDNS. And then also Covenant Eyes is another really good source. You can protect all your phones, iPads, iPods, laptops, computers can all in one account, and it's $14 a month for filtering and checking. Our family's not using that because we don't have internet at our house. So it'd be a waste of money in our case. We don't have internet at our house. The only internet access is if I use my iPhone as a wireless standalone wireless router, and so we set that up anytime someone needs the internet, but that means I've got to be there and I have complete control over it, and I know when someone's connected to it, and I can turn it off so in a flash. So and I change the password on it all the time. So we have almost no internet connection at our house now anyway. But if I had wide open internet at our house, I can tell you for sure I'd be using Covenant Eyes and OpenDNS. So anyway, all right. Also, another question from that service is, when someone dies and go to hell, will they continue to relive the same sins they are the sins that sent them there, or the sins that they committed in this life? The answer, I think, maybe yes, because you remember the encounter between Lazarus and Abraham, where and the rich man, where the rich man says, "Hey, do something here. Bring me a cup of water," and that kind of thing. And Abraham says, "Remember, on earth, when you were receiving your comfort and Lazarus was in pain, you received your comfort then." And so it seems like Abraham actually brought back that discussion of the reasons for that. C.S. Lewis, by the way, captures this whole notion of hell in his book, The Great Divorce, where he describes a married couple where the wife goes to heaven but the husband goes to hell, and the wife actually makes visits to him from time to time, and he comes to heaven from time to time too, and he hates it there. Like he's even more miserable there than he is in hell. And when he goes back to hell, hell is featured by a bunch of people who are constantly bitter about their old life on earth, constantly bitter about their existence now, and in hell they move further and further apart from each other because they can't stand to be around each other. They're just miserable, and a lot of the misery that they put in place here in this life has carried over with them. Now, does C.S. Lewis have hell accurate? He says in the beginning of his book, look, this is purely my fanciful idea or notion of hell, but it is an interesting idea where Lewis says that the sins here on earth translate into hell, and they have a great memory of that because here he's talking to his wife, but the memories of that relationship and those kinds of things are painful for him, and he tries to avoid it. He doesn't like it when it happens. So I think Lewis has probably taken some maybe too liberal steps with it, but it's an interesting idea. But I do think there is some aspect of memory both in heaven and hell of aspects of this life. And so anyway, so I think the short answer to that is yes, there will be memory of sins here on earth. Like, for instance, an individual who rejects Christ, I think that memory, that moment, that opportunity where they said no to Christ, there's going to be a special level of accountability and regret over that moment. The way an individual in this life has great regrets over a bad choice they made here. So anyway, all right, that's the questions from 717. God bless you guys.